Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. How are we all doing? I've had a crazy day today. Been a bit of a disaster to be honest, but trying to stay calm, slowly recovering. Hopefully this will... The Lawn Ranger, welcome. We've got a special one today. We've got Ryan from Kirbside Cleaning today to come and join us and have a chat. Monkey, welcome. Lindsay. It's so crazy that all of you would, like, I literally just hit the live button and all of you are just in straight away. That's mad. Welcome, Ryan. Oh man. Hazzy, welcome. Your cleaner windows, welcome. Richard, how you doing? My week's got off to an interesting start. How's everyone's Monday? It is Monday, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Tom, welcome. Martin, good evening. I'm liking these Monday nights. Gets me out of the bedtime routine for the kids. Nice. Yeah. Me too, to be fair. It's like daddy's working. This is work. Classed as work. Slater, welcome. So today I've been doing the biggest block paving job that I've taken on in the last like over 2.5 years now that I've been pressure washing. This was the biggest block paving job I've done. It might not sound big to many people, but 325 square meters of incredibly weedy block paving. And let me show you what happened about halfway through the job. What size Pro Grip did you get for your CLX? Is yours the CLX 22? I haven't got one for the CLX. I've got one for my vacuum poles and one for my lances. I haven't ordered one yet for my CLX. Oh my god. No way. What the hell? Jane, welcome. The Great North. Spick and Span, you back? Welcome, mate. I couldn't believe it.
Can't believe that's just happened.
I was fuming.
What came off? That came off.
So this water supply was like, look how fast the water's coming out that. That had popped off like 15 minutes prior. It popped off into the van. And it was just filling my van for like 15 minutes. I only realised because my lance started like spluttering because my tank ran out of water. I was like, what? I haven't run out of water all day. Why is it all of a sudden I've just run out of water? And so I ran over to the van and I could see water coming out the side of the van. I was like, no! Yeah. Not a good day. I didn't finish the job either. I've got to go back tomorrow, which is normally my day off with the kids. So yeah, I've spent the evening with the Panther vacuum, even though I let all that water out and I've like pulled and brushed all the water out of the car, out the van. I still removed. Well, I was using the Panther vacuum to suck out the rest of the water from under the carpets and stuff, and I still filled up I filled up the Panther, whatever the volume that the Panther can handle. I filled it up 4 times. I was literally driving home with water slushing under my feet. Darren, welcome. Hooper, BM. Just get a new van and forget about it. I literally am. I need one now. I was looking all last week. I took some time off last week to look for a new van. Couldn't find a nice one. Bonjour, Shag. Luke, welcome. Good job you had the 30-litre monster to attack it, yeah. I made good progress, but... yeah. Yeah, the dog's here. Coda's here. Should we get Ryan in? Should we see if he's about? Discord. Ryan, if you can, what do I do? Can you join the invite only voice channel or the general channel so that I can pull you down? Test, test, test. I don't know if I've actually got my devices set up properly.
Can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you.
Pause your...
Hang on,
I need to pause your live stream, otherwise that's going to be super annoying, isn't it?
2 seconds. Headphones. Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay, nice.
Loud and clear.
Right, let's see if we can do the video as well without the stream absolutely dying. Right. Hello. Can you see me? Oh, Jesus! The dog's had enough. The dog's had enough. She's gone. Go on then. There you go.
How big does it get?
Oi.
Smashing.
Right. Sorry about that.
Alright.
Have you got a camera today, or is it just audio?
There we go. It's alright.
Not sure if you can
I
hear
have
me.
got a camera.
Oh, you can.
I don't know how to mute, deafen.
I wonder if I have to invite you to like a video chat or something.
There we go. Here. 1 second.
No worries. Batman, welcome. Weird Jet Washing, welcome. Luke. Just watched your last week's Q&A. I think it's time for a group special. Good idea. How you getting on, Ryan?
Well, I've okayed turn the camera on, and it's giving me the option to turn it off, but it definitely can't. So I don't know what's going on there.
I wonder if I can. Maybe I have to call you instead. Maybe we should have done a test run before before we started. Cool. Right, I'm trying to do like a video call instead. Ryan, you might have to exit the voice channel and accept the video call. Sorry about this, guys. A few teething issues, just getting started. Maybe I'll restart Discord. Right, I'm going to restart Discord. Yeah, we've just so everyone knows, we've never spoke to each other before, so we've never met. Hello.
Hello. What's going to do?
I don't know. She just got up and went back downstairs. Accept. Call. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, that's better. I can see you now. Can you hear me okay? Oh no. I'm getting loads of lag. I can't really hear you. Damn it. We've got him, look. He's here. But it's everything's freezing.
It's fine on my end.
Oh, is it? Maybe I'll shut my camera off.
Yeah.
Sorry, you have to bear with me 2 seconds. Just trying to sort this out.
Yeah, no worries.
How have you been? You had a good day?
Yeah, so it was my first day back since I got back from holiday last week, so I decided to have the extra couple of days off and just have 2 weeks off. So I had a window and gutter combo this morning, and then a 5-room carpet clean, I think it was, after that. So nice little ease back into it to go pick up. So I had some work done on that.
You've been ill as well, haven't you?
It's just a nice chilled one for me today, but I've got a fairly busy week. I have been ill, yeah. I had sinusitis or whatever it's called. My eyes felt like they were trying to come out my head.
Oh no.
But yeah, it seemed to be on the mend. So
what's that like, offering multiple services like that? Because I had to scroll through your Instagram earlier and realised you offer carpet cleaning and all that sort of stuff. Do you have separate vans for all your equipment?
yeah. So I had two Transit Customs. One that I used solely for carpets, and then one that I used for all the external stuff. But in reality, it works very well because I didn't have any storage unit at the time. So a lot of the equipment stayed on the vans. And then what is at the moment, there is zero equipment in here at the moment. I just have my little office in here. So I got rid of my two supersized in order to basically use that for all of my services. So I could do a driveway clean I could do a small roof clean in the morning and a carpet clean in the afternoon, and I could fit it all on the same van. I could fit the tower in there, the pressure needed to go with all the jobs, and then I've got a warehouse which is 30 seconds down the road to my house, and that houses all my equipment now, so nothing stays on the van, which is a much safer option. It is slightly more expensive van wise. I actually save money having one bigger van than I did having two smaller ones.
Did you just say you've got a warehouse?
Yes, yeah, we've got a warehouse.
Can I just I think what I'm going to do is ask you to maybe turn your camera off, because I'm wondering whether that's affecting it. the live stream's lagging a little
Is-
bit, and I'm struggling
That
to
was it.
I'm struggling to catch everything that you're saying. So,
No worries.
can you
I'll
hear?
turn that off. That better?
Yeah, that
Seems better.
that seems loads better. Yeah.
Audio seems a bit better. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Sorry about that. That's really annoying.
That's all right. No, it's all good.
I need to figure out maybe having like a proper wired connection. I think I'm maybe a little bit too far away from the router in this room. But
I'm probably the same, to be fair.
Yeah. Are you able to see the YouTube live chat?
I can bring it up and have it muted, I think. Sure, I'll be able to.
I think it might just be worth bringing up just so that other people can just so that you can read people's comments. If anyone does have any questions for you throughout, you can just stop and answer any questions if you need to.
Yeah, no stress at all. Here we go.
Squeaky Clean Dave, welcome.
If I do that, yeah, I can still hear you. Cool.
You're you do a podcast every week. Is that like a pre-recorded one, or is that live?
And Dan, so we don't do it live, but we do our best to do it every week.
Yeah.
So, like for example, this Saturday's episode, we haven't filmed that yet, so we'll be filming that tomorrow, and then we can sort of talk about the previous week's what happened the previous week. Anything that sort of went on, any interesting stories. The one we've got to film actually, obviously, because we filmed podcasts before I left, because Dan was away before that. We filmed the weekend that I left, the weekend away, and this weekend just gone. So we filmed 3 in sort. Then anything since, obviously, because I've been away. So this weekend's episode should be one. If anyone wants to check it out, it's the Uncleanables podcast. We talk about all sorts of crap. It is good fun, and we love hearing your guys' comments.
And sorry, there is. If I do interrupt you at any point, it's not because I want to interrupt you. It's because there's a little bit of delay. So please,
no worries.
Bear with me.
Get that? Yeah.
So what, other than obviously pressure washing and roof cleaning and carpet cleaning, are you pretty much offering every single exterior cleaning service at the moment?
So yeah, day one business about 2.5 years ago was we just started off window cleaning. So I literally, the first day I went out, we had one customer. I went out and done that one customer. Fortunately, that one customer had a neighbour opposite who asked us to clean their windows as well. So by the end of day one, we had 2 customers. And then very, very quickly, I decided I wanted to add the pressure washing to the roster, and that's what I wanted to build the business on. But when I started, I thought it was a very seasonal service to offer solely. So the business is built around the windows being the bread and butter. Windows what pays the bills, and the other job that we do on top of the windows is obviously it's not 100% profit, but
so did you guys start together?
The bills being paid.
Did you guys start together from day one? You both. How did you get to the point where?
So I work. Yeah, sorry. So Dan he worked for a plastering firm. He was like a site manager. He absolutely hated it. We've been friends for a long time. So he sort of saw me doing my own thing, which is similar to, we're not tradespeople as such, but similar sort of industry. He said he wanted to sort of go off on his own and do his own thing. And I said, well, look, I'm at a point where occasionally I'm going to need a second pair of hands. So I'll chuck you a few days' work, which will just give you that little bit of security to take the risk almost and start your own business, because it is a scary thing, especially when you first start out. You haven't got that dependable income. So I said, look, I can throw you a bit of work here and there. Fortunately, I ended up being a lot busier than I initially thought when I spoke to him. So a couple of weeks last year, he was working 5 days a week with me. But we were good friends beforehand. I wanted to do a podcast for a little while, but I don't think I'm interested enough on my own to do it. So I said to Dan, "What do you think? We'll give it a go." I'd got the warehouse, so we then had sort of an opportunity for somewhere to do it.
It's definitely easier
it's sort of like the stars sort of aligned with it.
It's definitely easier to bounce ideas off each other. Like I just found working with my brother recently. It's not even a case of being more entertaining or one of you's more entertaining than the other person. It's just having that other person there to like generate that conversation. And I found working with my brother in the van for the last 2 months just sort of validating a lot of what I was thinking in my head that other people really wouldn't understand unless they were in the van with me and doing the same job. And so it's nice just to be able to have someone else there with you, especially things like podcasts as well. It can be quite daunting just sitting in front of it.
So that's sort of how it started for us, was just chats in the van. And we were sort of like, we should know if someone could record what we were saying. We thought it was quite entertaining anyway. But yeah, there is a little bit of planning that goes into the podcast. It's not as simple as just sitting down and just having a chat. But it does start to flow once you've sort of got that initial topic that you want to talk about. It sort of branches off from there, which is always quite nice, and I think it makes it a little bit more natural.
Yeah, when I'm organised throughout the week, what I'll do is just keep a note of like key things that I've seen throughout the week, or stuff I've seen online, or stuff that's happened to my machine or my van, or I get quite a lot of marketing emails from all the different suppliers and stuff, so I tend to be able to keep up with what new stuff that's going on in the industry, which is quite nice. But then other times when I've had quite a busy week, I'll find myself just coming in here and sitting down and sitting in front of the camera and just sort of waiting for someone to ask a question in chat so that I can so that I've got something to talk about.
Yeah, it gets like that sometimes, isn't it? I do exactly the same thing. I've got a note on my phone where if something happens and I think that's it's noteworthy, I'll just jot it down, because there's absolutely no way I'll remember every little thing that's happened. And then I'll just refer to that on the podcast, and it will spark a conversation that which might lead somewhere else. But it's just getting that content initially, isn't it? Yeah.
Did you say you were a bit choppy earlier when you were going through the first bit of what? By the way, sorry. Welcome to the podcast. We sort of skipped the whole first introduction bit, but there was a few technical issues, so sorry about that. Did you say you've only been going for about 2.5 years?
Yeah, so I started business May 2021.
I reckon that's around about the same time as me, How have you got to the point where you've already got multiple vans and a warehouse? And are you in a unit at the moment as well, or are you in your warehouse?
I'm in the garage at home at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, the warehouse, although we've got electric down at the warehouse, not really suitable for an office.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of a leaky roof, and it's a little bit rough around the edges. So we keep sort of the equipment for the computer and stuff at home, and then sort of all the other equipment we've got all racking down there, which is quite nice.
And
but yeah, how I got to this point would be, probably the best way to explain it would be, I've lived bare bones for 2.5 years, and when I talk to people about this and I discuss what I've earned, or what I'm earning at the moment, or the sort of type of jobs that I've been doing, some of the bigger jobs, And they go, bloody hell, you must have loads of money and whatnot. And I go, well, no, because it's all gone back into the business.
Yeah.
So every penny has gone on something that's improved, even if it's kind of like something you could have lived without. I haven't lived without it. I've improved the business. As I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, my most recent thing at the moment, which was probably a little bit stupid given the time of year, I'm having my van re-wrapped. So that's going to go full. So it's not full wrap. I think they class it as a half wrap.
That's not cheap either.
So all the backside panels. No, it wasn't cheap, and say probably wrong time of year to be doing it with. More so with the holiday because I've been out of work. I have been busy, but it's a case of like all it takes is a couple of people not to pay you on time, or I do a fair bit of commercial work as well, which is 30 days minimum wait, and then before you know it, you're sitting on $4,000 owed to you, but I've spent 6. So.
Yeah, there's so many things you're touching on at the moment that I'm just going to keep making notes of stuff that you're touching on, because we're going quite fast, and I want to try and drill down on some of the points you're making because
Sure.
The when you're saying about how you're pretty much investing everything you're earning back into the business, that was very much my philosophy for like the first, I'd say at least 8 to 12 months before I went full time in the business. I was still doing my regular 9 to 5, and then I was just doing little pressure washing jobs here and there after work and on weekends and stuff. And that was, instead of taking, it's quite tempting when you're sitting on all this extra cash that you never had before to think, oh, I've worked hard, I'm going to treat myself. But I think it's very important in that first 12 months to reinvest, at least until you've got the equipment where you don't feel like you need to get anything else before you get going. Like, I got my van, I got my first big pressure washer, and I got everything I needed set up and paid for. Everything was paid off before I made the leap and left my full-time job. And I think that's really important. How long do you think you're going to keep doing what you're doing now and reinvesting back into the business? At what point do you think you're going to take some of those earnings and actually enjoy them?
Great question, actually, because I actually applied for a mortgage a little while ago, but where I've taken a lot of that, what I've spent, and offset it against my tax. The business actually on paper made a loss, so I wasn't able to get a mortgage basically because on paper the business doesn't look as great as it does in reality, because I've carried forward a lot of depreciation and whatnot. So ideally this year is going to be all about paying down. So I've done the complete opposite of you. So when I started, I went full time straight away. I didn't have a traditional job as of before. So I had a business a few years ago where we were in the wedding industry. So we rented out photo booths and dance floors and things like that for weddings and corporate events. It was one of the biggest companies in Essex for that niche. And we sold that in February 2019. And then between that February 2019 and May 2021, it was obviously like peak COVID times, but I had I retained a photo booth from the sale, and I was just doing sort of solo work to get by. And then COVID hit anyway, so I wasn't actually working traditionally in a sense anyway. So it was a lot easier for me to just go all in with this business and full time straight away.
Were you able to get that,
all that extra time?
What was that thing the government were doing for people when they were off work? What was that? They were getting those payments. Were you able to get that? Yeah, that was it.
Yes. So I was able. So the way I set up when after I sold the business, I set up a company in my own name, and paid myself out of the proceeds of the business a monthly wage. It was only about £700 a month or something like that. It wasn't a lot. but because I wanted to retain a pay slip for the times I wasn't working, I've done it that way and paid a small premium for an accountant to set it up like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did get furlough, but it wasn't a lot. I think it was 300 or 400 quid or something like that a month. But obviously, it did help at that time. My only regret was I didn't start this business sooner, because I think a lot of people were sitting at home with extra cash where they weren't travelling to London, and they were spending it on their gardens, weren't they?
Yeah. I think I was guilty of that as well. You know, everyone's just spending more time at home and they're looking at their garden more often, and they're sort of thinking what's the next thing on the jobs list.
And where they weren't travelling to London every day, they had 500 quid a month spare to do whatever the hell they wanted to do with it.
Yeah.
And they were doing some crazy things, especially around my way, that's for sure.
Because my advice for most people who are just starting out, I always tell them, don't just leave your job. Because if you get it into your head that, you know, you've got this grand idea of having an exterior cleaning business, and then you go and drop, you know, 4 or 5 grand on equipment, and maybe you get yourself a van, you got some savings and stuff, and then you cut your ties and you leave your job, you're left with a load of posh equipment in your shed, but you've got no customers just yet. And so
that's interesting. It's interesting that that's your fault on it. So I've had businesses since I was 20. So 10 years now I've been running my own business. And my advice to anyone would be, do it wholeheartedly or don't do it at all.
Really? Like straight away like that?
If you're in that situation, yeah. If you want a side business, not an issue at all. But if you want something my biggest thing with anything is, if you want something to work, you need to be scared to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the fear that you're not going to pay the bills at the end of the month that gets you out knocking on doors. I've personally been there and I've done it. So with this business, I've never had to cold knock on anyone's door. I've delivered maybe 200 leaflets in the 2.5 years I've been running. All of my marketing has been online or word of mouth, which has been quite fortunate. But I know for a fact, if I was considering not being able to pay the bills at the end of the month, I would be out that door doing whatever I can possibly do to get working, because I know I haven't got a backup.
I think
when you've got a backup, it can make you lazy. And then people turn around and go, I bought this equipment and my business hasn't worked, but they've spent 90% of their time working for Dave, who's the owner of the business they worked for before, instead of focusing 100% of the time on their business for themselves.
Yeah, that's very true.
There's no right answer, but it's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, no,
I think if you're going to do something, you should do it properly.
I do agree. Do you not think that could partly be because you've got experience with owning your own business? If you look at it from the perspective of someone who's, well, potentially someone like myself who was just in like retail for the last 10 years, or just like a standard safe 9 to 5, with no self-employment experience, no marketing experience, not even knowing whether you're going to enjoy the work. Like, it's all well and good having these ideas, and I must have had, I can't even count how many business ideas I've had over the years. And I did say to myself on this one sounds like a good idea. Like this, originally it was just going to be pressure washing, and I did the numbers and it sounded like it made sense. But it's like, you don't really know whether you're going to actually enjoy the work, whether you're actually going to get the customers. And so I think for someone like me, just easing myself into it was a good decision. And so that's why I think I tell people to do the same. But for someone like yourself who's come from like a self-employed background,
definitely, like you say, there's no right or wrong answer. when it comes to what you should do.
Mhm.
And almost say I've just seen a comment actually about they've got a mortgage and 2 kids, and I would never say to someone, quit your stable job and chase your dreams if you're concerned. But I think if you're starting a business, you should have taken every precaution to do the research. Like you say, dip your toe in the water, rent a pressure. You can rent pressure washers, see if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've got the same as you. I've got a membership set up on the YouTube, and I get a lot of people reach out to me for advice, and they always say to me, "Oh, like I spoke to someone earlier actually, can I make enough money doing this job?" I think absolutely you can make more money than you've ever dreamed of making. Yeah, exactly that. But you've got to, if you just want to do pressure washing, it's not. I personally don't think it's going to happen quick enough for you to cover a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You need to be willing to do the shit that no one wants to do, like the soffit and fascia cleaning, the roof cleaning, as we discussed the other day. You with your achy shoulders and your bad back, and it being disgustingly painful. That's the stuff that you've got to do to make your business work. And if I could pressure wash all day, oh man, that's the dream, isn't it? Like, I could just go and clean patios and driveways and earn enough money to pay a mortgage and raise my kids, then
I learned
that'd be gorgeous. And people have done it, but I'm sure at the beginning they weren't doing it, or they had a slightly different setup.
Yeah, I learned very quickly that you've got to diversify, and I made a big mistake when I started by putting all my eggs in one basket and calling my business Smelts Pressure Washing. I think that was very naive of me to think that I could just do pressure washing and get by on just that one service. The first thing I went into was
you
gutters.
mentioned that because sorry, go on. Yeah, go on, Karen.
Oh, sorry. The first thing I got into after that was gutter clearing, and that really has sort of been my bread and butter throughout the winter.
It's definitely a brilliant winter service, the gutters. I was saying, it's funny that you mentioned it. When I first started my business and I was trying to figure out what to call it, the curbside part came to me very, very quickly. And then I was toying with, curbside window cleaning, this, that, and the other. And I was watching the likes of Ashley McIntosh and Sid and Ricky Banjo on YouTube. And I noticed that they were all exterior cleaning. And I think that little bit of experience in business was what really led me to say, I don't want to bottleneck myself marketing wise into being labelled as one service. Although I try to come across as a pressure washing business, you want to keep your options open, because I've got contracts for, commercial jobs now that are worth 16, 18 grand a year to me, and I don't do any pressure washing for them.
Yeah.
And you
can you
would
talk?
I have potentially lost that contract? Sorry, go on.
No, sorry. It's this timing on this thing is a little bit of lag. I'm sorry if I interrupt you. I was going to ask, can you talk a little bit about how you set those contracts up and approach that situation where maybe you've done like a one-off clean for them and they've expressed interest in getting it done regularly? Who sort of makes the first move on that? Because I've had some issues with that lately where I don't know when to approach them to ask them to sign up to like an agreement or a contract to get this done, say every 6 months. Is it something that you do after the first clean?
I don't have any sort of physical contracts that I've signed with these companies. It's all, it's their business relationships, so they're taking at their word, and they could turn around tomorrow and say we don't want to use you anymore, which is which would be unfortunate. But the way that I got the same majority of my commercial work was through Google marketing and Checkatrade. So my biggest contract came from Google Guaranteed, which is similar to pay-per-click, but instead of clicking on your website and then you're paying for it, even if they don't inquire, they have to phone you, and you only pay once they're on the phone for longer than 30 seconds. So I got into that quite early. which I thought it was a very good deal.
What's that called? Google
but as
what?
it gets more saturated, the quality of the leads went down. It's called Google Guaranteed. And Google actually guaranteed, well, I don't know if they still do it now, but they guaranteed each job for up to 1,500 quid in insurance because they'd vetted you and you had to provide, your public liability insurance certificate and stuff.
I've not heard of that.
That's it, yeah.
And so when you're...
they do still do it, yeah, following.
When you're speaking with these commercial customers, and you're not necessarily writing up a strict contract, but my thought process is, this is something I'm trying to navigate recently. My thought process is, okay, I'm going to give you a price for the initial clean, and they're probably expressing interest in getting this done. Someone said to me the other day they wanted it done every month, and I was like, well, that's clearly not going to happen. But then they said maybe every quarter, and I said, and I was thinking to myself, are they saying they want it done every quarter because they're trying to get a cheaper price and they're banking on me reducing the cost with them having it done 4 times a year? How do you work when it comes to pricing, and do you make any sort of discounts for customers that are going to have repeat work throughout the year?
So that particular commercial job, they initially contacted me about having a clean because the building had just opened up, having the big bosses come down. They mentioned the same thing as what you said. They mentioned about having it done quarterly, monthly. They weren't really sure. So I said to them, look, here's a price for a one-off clean. And it's a big building, so it wasn't so much a case of, normally for a quarterly clean on a commercial on a domestic house, I would charge double what I would charge for 2, 4, 6 or 8. But obviously with it being such a large building, it wasn't as black and white as that. So I gave them a price for, a one-off clean, which I think was about 400 quid. And then I said to them, if you wanted to go regularly, whether that be monthly, 2, 4, 6, or 8 or 12 weekly, I'll do it at this price. Now, it's difficult with commercial clients. You aren't in the driver's seat. You are at their beck and call.
Yeah.
They will call you up and ask things. I always think how you manage your business in that sense is you should treat them as you would treat anyone else, because as soon as you start, for them, they will take the piss. And generally, experience having putting your foot down and say, look, this is the price I gave you for this is the price I gave you for that. You've asked me to come an unreasonable hour at the last minute. If I facilitate that, you've got to impress them a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would never. A lot of people trip up and they go and throw stupidly big discounts to try and secure additional work. But as soon as they're going to be time, and you might have one job where you charge your normal, and then they don't use you again. And in reality, all that's happened is you've had one good job, one shitty job that you might not have made much money on. You've come out of it probably they've come out of it with a bit of a bad taste in their mouth of your business.
Yeah, I think that's
because your prices have gone down and then up and then.
Yeah, that's my concern at the moment is with those customers that are expressing interest in, like specifically this one recently who said they want a quarterly clean. It's like, do I give them, I'm going to charge them a standard rate for the first one, but then this reduced rate, I'm thinking maybe 15% off that standard price going forward. And that's quite a significant amount of money when you're talking about a big area that needs cleaning.
Than it is from the first clean.
Sorry, you broke up then a little bit.
It's never going to be as dirty 3 months down the line after you've cleaned it for the first time. So.
Yeah. and I'm thinking if I give them this reduced rate, and they take me up on that 3 months later, but then they decide not to get it done for another year, it's like I've just given them, that reduced rate, and they've not sort of fulfilled the agreement that we were going to do it 4 times a year. And that's what I'm struggling to get into my head without specifically writing up like this scary contract that's potentially going to put them off. And I haven't even done the initial clean for them yet, so I don't know whether, they will be happy with the results, but how do they know that they're going to be happy with the results, and why would they enter into these 4 cleans for the next 12 months when they don't even know if I can produce results? Do you know what I mean?
I think the best thing I can give, the best bit of advice I can give you here is, imagine you had 50 other contracts. Would you give a shit about this one, or would you just go, the price is the same on every clean, take it or leave it?
Is that what you do?
You've got to be scared. You've got to not be scared to lose work, because I've spoken to a lot of people who they take advantage of the people that haven't got a lot of commercial work, and in the end they end up going with someone with commercial experience who charges more money because they're reliable.
Yeah.
And you're going to shoot yourself in the foot and give them this discounted price, and all being well, you end up with loads more work, and then down the line, you'll go, well, that contract that I got initially, that's a shit one now. I don't really want it, but they've been a customer a long time, and I don't really want to talk to them about upping my price because they're a bit iffy. When in reality, you probably didn't need them in the first place.
Yeah,
and it just becomes a problem. Whereas you've almost got to sort of, I don't like the word, but you've got to front it out and say, yeah, we do this all the time, and we've done a lot of these in the past. Normally they've been one-offs. I can do, I'm more than happy to do a regular clean for you, but it's the same job 3 months from now than it is. I always find with the regular cleans, it becomes a little bit more difficult to clean it the second time round, because where it's not as dirty, it's a lot harder to see where you have cleaned and where you haven't cleaned sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was just about to say
there should be a premium on clean.
Yeah, because it's the same as when people say, "Oh, can you just give that bit a quick blast?" And it's like, no, it's the same as what I'm doing everywhere else. It's not a quick blast; it's the same process. Exactly. So I'm not going to just do that bit as well, because if it's not in the price, then I need to charge you extra for it, because I'm not just going to rinse it, because that's not what you want. Yeah, that's a really good point. And I found
commercial jobs are the same as domestic work, right? But you get ball ache people paying you, you get ball ache payment terms, which can be up to 90 days, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the sort of smaller commercial companies, where they make their own payments, they haven't got like a dedicated accounts team. They could easily get forgotten about, and then you end up chasing them for money for 3+ months. And they go, "Oh yeah, we'll do it. Do
you know who's been the worst?
Forget about it again and again. They always want a slightly better deal. Go on.
The ones that have been the worst for me for that are schools. All of the schools that I've done have all either forgot to pay me, and when I've chased them by email, they've said, "Oh, sorry, we missed this. We'll get it to you ASAP." Or their terms are like 90 days, which is ridiculous, because you've got a lot of money invested in some of these jobs, and it's like you're really going to take 90 days to pay me? That's insane.
Or you send them the invoice, you assume that they've got it, and then 30 days later they haven't paid you. They go, "Oh, we never got your invoice. Send it over and we'll relodge it." And then it takes another 30 days.
Yeah, it was over the.
So the commercial work comes with its own set of challenges that you have to be able to sort of not be paid sometimes.
Yeah, it was just over the Christmas period
to get them, and they can be good.
We sorry, I feel like I keep interrupting you. I'm so sorry. it was just over the Christmas period.
You're all good, man. You're all good.
We did 3 different schools, and all of them paid me late. All of them took more than 30 days to pay me, which I've done various, smaller commercial jobs and stuff, and out of all of them, the schools are always the worst. They don't care that you're this small business, and the difference. Sometimes the difference between a couple of £100 can really change set you off for the month.
Yeah, precisely, and that's my point, because they've dealt with they like the lower prices of the small independent businesses, but then there's a lot of the smaller independent businesses that will, I know blokes that like window cleaners that will go to the school during school time and like knock on the fucking reception's door until they get paid, kicking up a fuss. And you think that the bigger commercial companies that are charging 3 times your rate aren't doing that, but it's because the reason they're charging 3 times the rate is because they know it's going to be a ball ache of a clean, it's going to be a ball ache getting paid.
Yeah.
But you don't win every job that you send to, because these companies, they've got to use all the little guys first until they get sick of it. And then it is a little bit of luck involved, I think, with commercial work. But once you've got it, as long as you're, respectable business and you're doing what you say you do, there'll be a customer for life.
Yeah, I asked this question to my brother the other day, who's got a lot of experience in like big project management roles, and I said, like, I've got my payment terms. My payment terms are 7 days, and it says very clearly on my quotes and on my invoices 7 days. And what happens when the people that you're working for don't respect that, or they have their own payment terms? And he basically said, you've just got to really look at who's the bigger fish, who is the bigger business, and generally you abide by whatever their payment terms are.
I've just seen Nick's exterior cleaning. Has anyone found out if your price seems too low, it can put people off? Yeah, all the time. All the time.
A lot of people are scared of pricing high, but I think occasionally it can swing both ways. Occasionally, some people can see a high price as they're getting a premium service, but you've also got to back that up with your marketing, your appearance, the way you come across the customer. You can't just go around charging high prices, when you're just starting out. And something I wanted to touch on in one of my videos, one of the next videos that I do, I think I want to touch on, when people say, what would you charge for this? I've got my pricing structure because I know exactly what's involved in doing that job and the level of service that I offer. And that's going to be very different from someone who's just starting out, and someone who's not, maybe they're not using chemicals, or maybe they don't know they've got to, clean the gullies out, or there's a couple of lads in my town that I spoke to a couple of customers last year, and they said, oh yeah, they pressure washed it, but the weeds came back really quickly. And when I said, oh, it's because it's got no sand in
no chemical.
It was no chemicals. There's no sand in between the joints. And they said, oh, they didn't mention any sand. And it's like, you don't know whether they're just doing that on purpose just to get the money and leave, or whether they don't know that this sort of stuff needs resanding. If you've just got like a gardener or someone that does pressure washing on the side, they might not even know that. And so it's very difficult to say.
I'm cleaning a patio on Saturday for one of my window cleaning customers, which I've offered to do for free, because her gardener cleaned it 2 years ago, and you'll see the video eventually. But when you look at it, it looks like it hasn't been cleaned in 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, and so it's very difficult to answer those questions of how much should I charge for this, because it's like, well, I don't know your process, I don't know the results that you get, and there's a reason people charge for a premium service. It's because they offer a premium service, and you can't expect to.
I think as well, it comes down to your marketing at that point as well.
Yeah.
So if you're charging a premium price, you need to explain to the customer why you like if you know that you're a little bit more expensive, and I do this all the time. And I generally, and I know it's a bit of a controversial topic, the roof cleaning, but I offer the customers two prices. I offer them a price without the buy side, and I offer them a price with the buy side. And I say to them, the price without the buy side is going to be very competitive to the other prices you're going to get. But here's why you shouldn't go with it.
Oh, I
And
like
here's
that.
why you should go for it with the buy side. And I map it all out, and I explain to them about the insurance and the scaffold tower. We don't walk on their roof. And some people don't care; they still want to go with the cheapest price, you know. But I mean, you've done a roof now, and when you really get into it, I mean, I've done I think about 15 roofs last year, and I wouldn't want to do one for probably less than 800 quid now. It is physically demanding.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that goes on. More often than not, you've got to then go back and double check on it or re-empty the gutters where sort of the silts, the exposed silts falling into the gutters and stuff like that. So, yeah, so that's what I explain to people, that you're going to get that aftercare service as well.
I think I've
That you're not going to get from the blokes that come walk on your roof and then leave.
Yeah, I think I used to be pretty good at that and explaining the level of service to my customers, but I think I'm sort of lacking on that now. Because I've been doing it for like 2.5 years, I just assume that this is wrong of me. I assume that the customer knows what they're getting and what they're paying for, just because they might have seen some of my before and afters on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And that's not the case. There's people that they're going to come from all different directions. They're going to come from Google and recommendations and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think you're right.
You get complacent as well when you get inquiries coming in. You get complacent.
Yeah.
And this goes back to the point I made about when you start your business. If all of a sudden you had no work, what would you start doing differently to ensure that you were closing jobs?
Yeah.
Because ultimately it's your sales that determine. It's marketing and sales. So you can be the best marketer in the world, but if you're a terrible salesperson, you're not going to close a lot of that work. Some people will book in just because they like your marketing.
Yeah, and to that point, I think the actual results or technique or the job itself is probably the last consideration. The first thing you should be worrying about is how do you present yourself in front of the customer, and what does your marketing look like?
I won a job not that long ago for a commercial bank. It's similar to like Monzo. They're one of those digital banks.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a branch near me. I didn't know they were there until they booked in. Anyway, he sent me some pictures, and for the carpets, for commercial carpets, I charge per square meter. So he measured it up for me, sent it over, sent him the price, and said it's very straightforward. We charge this, set rate. Doesn't matter how dirty it is. I'm there to do the job. It's clean. We'll leave you with. We'll outline all that for you at the end. And the price was 600. Guy's office, but it wasn't huge. I think I finished the job at about 2:00.
Yeah.
Back to me and booked in. When most expensive quote we had, but we went with because we're a lot more professional than the other companies that we had. And for me, some customers don't really care what you're charging. It's about how you present yourself as a business. And I say to anyone who asks advice, you need to just tick all those boxes. So you need to have it the way you don't have to have all singing, all dancing website, but you need to have a website. You need to have your mobile number on display. You need to have a Facebook page. You need to have branded tops or whatever, just something to make yourself look presentable. I don't think branded vans are necessary, but they always help. Social media presence, so posting the occasional pictures of your work, because people check these things. They go online and they have a look and they go, right, well, if that company's not posted anything for 2.5 years, like, why should we go with them? We don't even know the quality of their work at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, or if you just sent a price on an email with no kind regards at the end, it's just unprofessional. And people get inquiries coming in, or they've got, you know, they've got their little whatever it is that keeps them going, and it's easy to get complacent.
Yeah. Someone's just we're doing this live because I was hoping we'd get to some of the questions in the chat, but sorry for everyone who's been typing questions and we've been sort of missing them. But Michael's just mentioned you need to be VAT registered for that service on Google, but something else.
No, you don't.
Do you not? Okay.
I'm not VAT registered.
Okay.
No, I'm not VAT registered. I did do it through a marketing company. I didn't do it myself personally. I don't know if that makes a difference, but you don't have to be VAT registered to do pay-per-click. So I don't think you do.
Okay.
There'll be a way around it.
It reminded me when I was speaking to my brother about pricing and about, you know, your appearance and these bigger contracts and stuff. And he said his previous company, that they would never dream of hiring any external subcontractor, if they were a sole trader or a one-man band. They would have to be a very established business to be able to win these big contracts, because you only need to make that mistake once or twice by hiring, you know, the wrong person with, you know, very little experience. And so, I mean, I won't say I was against it, but I never really felt the need to even have a website up until recently, just because I wasn't targeting that commercial work, because I didn't think I was quite ready for it yet. Particularly being on my own and having this tiny van that I'm still working out of now. And at the time having like a fairly small machine compared to, I think I had my taste of like one big commercial pressure washing job, and I had a 15 litre per minute machine that I didn't have much confidence in that it was going to last very long. And I just realised how long that one job took me, and how sort of ill-equipped I was, and how another more established business with, you know, multiple employees and bigger machines, they could have got that job done in half a day, and for me it took me like 3 days. And it just sort of put me off targeting that commercial work, and so I didn't even bother having a website for so long until recently, when I think it was when I got my new slightly bigger machine. I had a bit more confidence that I could do the work. But I
think it's for me that the website, I don't get much work from my website at all, but it's just ticking that box in case someone's on the fence about going for a roof clean, more so because the bigger ticket sales, and they go and they check my website. Funny enough, I haven't even got roof cleaning on my website at the moment because it's being rebuilt. But if they go on the website, I want them to be able to see that we've ticked that box, and you know, and we're a business that can be trusted. Because I think there's nothing worse than you've spoken to this guy and he seems brilliant, and this day and age there's just a lot of people that are a bit curious as to why you've offered that price, or why that price is better. Are they a scammer? Everyone's aware of stuff like that. Especially in this industry, you do get a lot of unsolicited cleaners going around and trying to scam people. And it's just a like a, what do you call it? Like a you're just ticking that box to say, yeah, I'm the real deal, sort of thing.
Yeah, and especially for me as well, having that contact form on the website. Since setting that up, I've been so surprised that it actually works. And I think I did a video or something a while back saying, you know, marketing actually works, because I'd suddenly started doing this push to one, posting more sort of local Facebook community groups and stuff, which I hadn't bothered with before. But someone said, you really need to get on these community groups. It was a local. He was a local lad that was doing like waste removal and stuff. And I just, on the off chance, I just said, "Oh, how are you getting your work at the minute?" He said, "Mate, it's all Facebook community groups, local forums, posting all of them once a week, and that's where all my work comes from." So I thought, "Oh, I'll start doing that." I should probably set up a website now. It's been 2 years. I should probably put one up, and just having that contact form at the bottom of every page, I've been getting like 3 or 4 inquiries. Well, not recently, but I was getting about 3 or 4 inquiries a week from this website contact form, and I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, that's because people are going onto your website and checking that you're legit, because you wouldn't have ranked for any keywords on Google on a fresh website. So they're people that have found your website via you marketing it, either Facebook or Twitter or whatever, YouTube, to find, or they've typed your name in to Google.
Wait, what do you mean by that? So having a new website, you're unlikely to get organic traffic.
You'll never have organic traffic on a new web. So basically, I used to have a marketing company, which is why I sort of kind of know. I'm sure the rules have changed a little bit now. But if you want to rank for, if you say you wanted to rank for like pressure washing in your local town, you would need to have your like Google My Business set up and linked to your website. You would then need to have like some backlinks set up, some blog posts, some keywords in the text for your landing page. It's not as simple as just set up how will Google know who you are. It's all about trust signals. So age of your website plays a huge factor.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And stuff like that. Yeah, it's super complicated, and SEO done properly will set you back minimum £1,000 a month, and it can be lucrative, but you're going to spend some money before you're where you need to be with it.
And when you say £1,000,
that's why like the big commercial,
£1,000 a month, is that towards a marketing company to give you guidance and help you push your website, or is that literally straight to Google to pay for them to advertise it?
So Google doesn't do that. SEO is not done by Google; it's done by marketing companies. You can do it yourself if you learn how to do it. But you would be paying, ideally, you'd be paying that to a marketing company. They would generally, the markup on SEO services is about 50%. So they would spend £500 on content creation, backlinks, whatever else they do to help rank your website. Like direct worked on the site, and then their profit would be the other 50%.
So just to be clear,
and then
you're not talking about paying Google for any sort of advertising at this point. This is purely just strategies that these marketing companies use to like promote your website. Yeah,
I'm sure you would have had an email from some little Indian fella offering you SEO services. We will rank your website on number 1 on Google.
Yeah,
them ones. So if you bring up a Google search on your screen,
mm-hmm.
and then you go to Google, you search something, your top 3 results, depending on what you searched, will be Google ads. So there'll be the ad clicks. If it's a service you're searching for, you might get the Google guaranteed that comes up at the very top. Then you might have the map pack. So you've got the local map pack, so all the businesses in that local area that you've searched from. And then below that, you've got the organic rankings. So those are the people that rank on Google for that search term that you've searched for.
I think my results here are probably slightly skewed because of, is it cache or is it cookies? Because
cookies, yeah.
Because I've looked at this content before. It's promoting maybe my own material to me.
Sometimes it does that. Yeah, if you go onto a private browser, it will. You'll get the uncookied results.
Right. So has that been quite powerful for you having that experience?
No, I don't do any of that at the moment because that is some real long term money pit of a marketing strategy. But once you're up there, that's when you can start looking at. So our last business, we used to do 2.5 grand a month on SEO, and we would get between 15 and 20 inquiries a day through the website.
Wow,
So we really didn't need to do any other marketing at that point.
that's
And once
crazy.
you're at the top, you have to maintain it. So you've got to continue spending that money, because otherwise someone who's below you, the second or third place, if you stop maintaining that marketing strategy, they'll overtake you and then it can fall off real quick. So it is a really long-term marketing strategy for anyone. Once you've sort of set the bare bones of your business up, you start looking at doing that. And that's what would take your business from sort of the one-man band to the 5-6 vans on the road type of business.
I was just going to say that sounds like that would be fairly unmanageable for someone who's just working on their own. I couldn't. I mean,
you wouldn't get to that point without having additional staff members and money to burn.
Yeah, so I mean, even now, just getting like 1 or 2, maybe 3 inquiries a day, that is a struggle for me, being on the tools at the same time. And I don't know. How have you found running your own business, being on the tools, and obviously doing all the marketing and the invoicing and maintaining all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but also running a YouTube channel and a weekly podcast? Have you found that to be quite taxing?
It is hard. Yeah, it is incredibly hard. But I get up at 5:30 in the morning and I'm on the computer at 6. And whenever I tell people that, they go, "Oh bloody hell, it's mental." But it's between 6 and sort of normally 8 o'clock, I get so much work done that generally I find that I don't really need to do anything of an evening. And if I do need to do something of an evening, I get home and I get it done, and then it's done. But yeah, it's occasional late night, lots of weekend work. Every morning I get up early and I work in the morning, and I keep on top of it.
I wish.
As soon as you stop keeping on top of it, I think that's run away with you.
Yeah, I wish I had a bit more in the way of that sort of discipline to be able to do that, because I wouldn't say I'm disorganized. Since starting my business, I used to be incredibly disorganized, but since starting my business, I have slightly improved on my organization and stuff. And I do understand the power of waking up early and just being an hour or 2 ahead of like the rest of the country, and just getting that stuff done before everyone else in the house has woken up. And it's really it's an amazing time that you can actually fully focus on one task without any distractions.
Exactly that.
I understand the power of it, but I just can't bring myself to do it. That bed is just too comfortable in the morning. You know what I mean?
I find so. What I do know what you mean, and for me, I used to hate getting woken up. So what I do now is I wake up before I get woken up, and that's what keeps me going. And if I don't do it, I get this like horrible anxiety that I've missed out on something. Because if you don't do it, you've only got to sacrifice time elsewhere. It's stuff when you work for yourself, it needs to be done. And granted, I've had a lot more time with experience to be able to do it, which is helpful for me. But if you don't do it, no one else is going to do it for you. So if you don't get up in the morning and do it, you've either got to then do it in the evening, or you've got to take time away from your family at the weekend to do it, or the alternative is it doesn't get done, and then you miss out on potential job, or you miss out on potential contract because you've been that little bit too lazy and they were expecting an email back.
Yep.
like yesterday, and they've binned you off because that was your chance and you blew it. You didn't know that, but
Yeah.
and that's the way. Like, that's what I tell myself, and that's what gets me out of bed. Alternatively, as well, you'll get to a point where you haven't got a choice but to do it. And I think at that point, if you're being forced to get up early, which is what I hate, you begrudgingly do it, and it's not. Like, I get up in the morning and I get excited to get work done because I'm like, right, I'm going to get all my stuff done and I'm going to go out and I'm going to do my jobs and I'm going to get home and I haven't got anything to do. I ain't got to worry about when I get home. I can just sit down and relax. And it's not, I wouldn't say I'm excited to do it because it's a bit sad, isn't it? But I want to get up and get it done.
You touched on it just a minute ago. You said something along the lines of, worrying that you're forgetting something. I have that constantly, and I've never had it before, but since getting a little bit busier with this business, I'd like to ask you this actually. Do you ever feel like you can't switch off? Because something I've been struggling with recently is actually having conversations with friends or family and being present and in the moment and not just thinking about work. Because even when I've covered everything, even when I know I've checked everything off my list, I still can't hold a conversation without thinking I should be somewhere else or doing something else that's productive. Do you get that?
I completely understand. My issue is, even when I've got everything done, I'll get an inquiry come in and I'll be mid-conversation and I'll start replying to the inquiry. But my outlook on the whole thing is I'm not getting any younger. I want to get this business to a point where I can have it run without me being on it. I would like to spend full time on the YouTube eventually. That would be my goal. And then have the business running in the background without me having to do a lot for it. And to do that, I've got to put in the time and the effort now. And it goes back to the bit at the start. You can't half-arse it. If I want someone to run this business, I need to make sure it is bulletproof and watertight, and everything's under control and there's processes in place. So the process will be an inquiry will always get replied to within 12 hours of receiving it. I will never receive an inquiry of an evening or of an afternoon and then not reply to it till the next morning. It gets checked that evening. I'll get a reply over that evening. It doesn't always have to be like the quote. It could just be a question, but I've made sure I've interacted with that customer. That's a potential customer.
That seems to be a big common theme when it comes to people who leave me reviews. They always mention how quickly I got back to them. I think that's quite important to people.
Yeah, it is massively important, but also it's the bare bones of building a good business. You hear it all the time. Oh yeah, no, I inquired with this bloke, but he got back to me initially, but then he just went quiet, or he never got back to me. And you just think like all you're doing is you're destroying your own reputation. But once you've built that reputation and you're in a position to then take someone on, your job. So once you take on a staff member, your job stops becoming about the service that you've built and you've got to then teach that person to give the service that your business offers. So you become a teacher.
So what would your you mentioned that you'd like to do the YouTube sort of full time and have that be your main interest or main. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but presumably you want to put most of your time into the YouTube while you've got something else passive coming in the background. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. But this business needs to be probably 3 times as big as it is now before I can really do that comfortably.
I'm in a bit of a fork in the road at the moment. I don't know whether that's the expression or the term that I mean. I know what I mean, but I don't know which direction I want to take the business. In that, I feel quite strongly that with expansion comes loads more stress, loads more overhead, and yes, potentially loads more money. But what I'm trying to figure out in my own head is the extra money worth all of that? And will it give me...
So you get extra money, but you get smaller margins.
Yeah. And will it give me the freedom?
My last business...
Sorry, go on.
So my last business, we had 30 staff members. We had 7 full-timers and 22, 23 part-time staff members. And it was probably the worst time of my life. We were doing 25 to 30k a month every month, and then in December we were doing 60 to 80k, and it was just miserable. And I earn less money personally than I do now, to put it in perspective for you.
That sounds like that sort of echoes a lot of the experienced people that I've spoken to in the industry that have gone that extra mile, and they've expanded and they've taken on loads of staff and they've got all these vans, and they seem like, from the outside, it looks like they're doing incredibly well. But when you actually talk to them, a lot of them either say they prefer it as a one-man band or just 1 or 2 people, or they've actually made that step and gone back to, they've dissolved what they have now or what they had.
Yeah.
And they've gone back to just being a one-man band or just being 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, because it's extremely, extremely stressful. But the trick, so for what I learned first time round, which is the mistake I won't make second time round, is that when you start taking on those staff members, you have to take a step away from the business. So your job, you need to give yourself a set job, whether that be the sales, whether that be the marketing, whether that be just the management, sorting the vans out, maintenance, whatever it might be. You have to just stick to one job and then employ people to do the other work.
Basically, getting off the tools.
Well, if you want to stay on the tools, then fine. But you're not going to grow that business without having then a salesperson in place, or a business relations manager, or a marketer. So you can't do everything and scale.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, you've got to pick a lane when you get to that point, and at that point, you don't. Obviously, the stress is always going to be there, but you have to just choose if it's worth it for you, and it's not worth it for everyone. This is what I say when I coach people. If you want a one-man band with a nice income, that is completely doable, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you want something that you can earn money from and sit at home, that's not what you're building here.
Yeah.
You could earn money, but you're still always going to have to check in. You're going to have to do something. You're going to have to check this, check that, deal with customers, probably deal with staff disagreements, deal with a van breaking down or a van being destroyed, or staff not looking after your equipment, ordering new equipment, payments, contracts, whatever it might be. There's still going to be work to do. It's still going to be a full-time job.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to be on the tools, or you can go hybrid and you can be on the tools with a couple of staff members, train one up to the point where he can go out on his own, take 2 on, have two-man vans out. And again, more stress. There's always going to be more stress, and more expense, but then you'll get that little bit of extra income as well.
Yeah, it seems
you've got to choose a lane and then work towards it.
That's what I'm struggling with at the moment. I don't know which direction I want to go, because the advice that I'm getting from everyone who sort of projects their opinion at me is that you need to hire an apprentice. You need to give him your van. You need to get a bigger van and just get him going off and doing that. You need to get someone else to come around and do all your filming for you, so that they can focus on the filming and the editing. And it's like, well, what's the goal though? Like, what is it that I want to...
You're just a quick way to go bankrupt, I think, if you start doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
What you got to bear in mind, right, is you know, these people that have got businesses in the position, say they've got 5 vans on the road, some of them have been going 7 or 8 years. There's never really any that have gone less time than that. But if you want to take someone on, you don't have to do it this year. You could do it next year. And you can go from you on your own to 4 staff members in 12 months. That's not, you know, that's not going to be that's not a crazy jump. So for everyone going, oh, you need to get a staff member on. Yeah, cool. But what if, you know, like for me this year, I wanted to take a full-time staff member on. I've now changed that a little bit, and I've gone, right, I want to pay off some of my loans that I've got this year and sort of ungear myself ready to take someone on next year.
Yeah.
And that might change halfway through the year.
Yeah,
but the end goal stays the same. The end goal is always going to be the end goal.
I suppose it's always good to be open to. This is my issue with goals. I feel like my life changes so regularly that it's tough to make realistic, achievable goals when I feel like I might not even have the same drive for that thing in the next 6 months. Like, and what's your next step? Is it to pay off some of your? Did you say?
I talk about this a lot with people, and I think when you look at it step by step, it's the wrong way to look at anything. I've got an end goal. I've got a yearly goal. I've got a 5-yearly goal, and I've got a 10-yearly goal. I want to hit my yearly goal. My yearly goal is to pay off some debt and maybe look at taking someone on full time. But the first thing starts with paying off the debt. So right, then I make a plan. So you reverse engineer. So I make a plan around how I'm going to do that. Right, well, I know what happened last year. I know hopefully that same thing will happen again this year. If not, you know, a little bit better, fingers crossed. And then I can use that to make some basic budgeting plans. But I wouldn't say anything's set in stone, because things change so quickly. Things change. And like next week, you could get called about a contract for cleaning 50 car parks, you know, in your county. And, you know, and that's a 3-month project. And that throws everything out. And then all of a sudden you've got to look at taking on a couple of staff members and buying 2 more machines, you know, and another van where you can drop one off with a machine from their own, and then you go to a third one. And your whole plan changes. So I've always been a great believer in get your yearly, your 5-yearly and your 10-yearly plans laid out on paper, something that you can physically look at, and then just reverse engineer how am I going to get to that point? Right, I need to do this, and this. Right, what have I got to do to do this? Right, let's reverse engineer that. I've got to do this, and this. And eventually you break it down and it becomes a lot more manageable. So yeah, my blinkers are on and I'm paying off my loans. So I've got 2 loans that I took out when I started the business. One for the pressure washer, which I reloaned and bought the roof cleaning equipment. And one for the carpet equipment. So that's what's getting paid off next. I don't look further than that at the moment. I've written down my plan.
It is,
and at the moment, nothing's changing.
It is very tempting to scale when you get a potentially big, you know, long-term job that could potentially cover someone else's wages on its own. Me and this was crazy, really, but me and my brother were looking at tendering for Oxford University to do their gutters, and it was an insanely big contract. It was over 75 grand, you know, over 3 years, and my brother has the knowledge and ability to meet all the tender requirements and to put in all that work in the background to make us look like we can do that job. And realistically, I mean, he's just gone back to Australia now, and realistically, at the moment, it's just me, and they want the work to start in May, and he's sort of pushing for it and saying he's looking through all the blueprints, he's reading all the requirements and the stages for tender, and it's like this is very tempting for us to put in this offer to tender, give them a price, and if they actually come back to us and choose us, it's like I've got to scale this business incredibly fast. I've got to now train 3 or 4.
Interesting, right? So you say 75 grand over 3 years. So is that how long they expect the job to take? 3 years, and then it starts again, or?
Yes, I believe it was because it's such a massive site. They obviously weren't expecting it to get it all done at the same time, but that was that they had actually asked for a price breakdown per building. They wanted to know prices for a one-off clean, for multiple cleans every quarter, and then multiple cleans every year. So
in my initial brain thought there would be, say they're happy to spend 75 grand. I don't know how tall the building is, or whether a cherry picker would be something suitable for that.
This isn't one building. This is probably in the region of about 40 different buildings.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. But the height of the highest building, is it accessible with a cherry picker?
Yeah.
So I'd be looking at buying a cherry picker. I'd be looking at taking on one person. That 75 grand covers you for buying that cherry picker and funding that person's wages for the year. And then I'd be looking at upselling them over the course of that year other services that I offer. So that contract covers your costs. You could probably nick 5 or 10 grand on that as well.
For me, and
then have that one staff member, their whole job is just to empty the gutters at Oxford.
Yeah.
In a year, they've got a year to do it. 40 buildings or 50 buildings. Get them the training that they need for the cherry picker, or 2 staff members or whatever, and say it's going to be 6 months. We'll do it 6 months or a year, but then in that 6 months to a year, you'd upsell them window cleaning or some sort of pressure washing.
For me, I think it was just the the potential anxiety of
it's scary.
having this contract offer accepted, and then my brother pissing off back to Australia, and me being left to not only employ someone else or multiple people, buy extra vans, buy more equipment, train these people, whilst I'm still on the tools and trying to keep the work coming in, and it just was not. It did not seem feasible just for little old me at the time, but maybe
sometimes though in those situations, it's what you need to get thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah,
True. It's not always a case of you can't do it. It's a case of you haven't done it before, and who knows what you can or can't do.
The other thing is, one of the biggest issues for me is I've never cleaned gutters from a cherry picker. I've not got my iPath. I've never been on a cherry picker in my life, and so that's a massive barrier for me at the moment for commercial work. And I think once I'm not necessarily been lazy. I'm tight, and I don't want to spend the money it's going to cost me to go and get my iPath, even though I know it's going to benefit me in the long run.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's not as if you've not got the work there lined up as well. It's it can be hard to part with the money.
Yeah. Do you mind? Can you give me a sec? I just need to pop to the loo.
Yeah, go on, Sam.
I don't know if you want to just have a scroll through the chat and maybe see if there's any questions that have come your way.
I'll have a look
while I duck out.
Kevin said,
2 seconds.
Go on, I'll take over. Welcome to the Curbside live chat. We're on the smelt takeover for the next probably 2.5 minutes. So we've had a comment from Kevin about franchising. Michael said about franchising wouldn't work. So franchising would potentially work in this business, but you'd have to have, like I say, invested into the SEO to have those leads coming in. I think it would be more like a lead selling situation. So if I SEO'd my business for, say, Birmingham, I could franchise to someone in Birmingham and say, right, 15k or whatever, and they've got to have their own van, but we'd set them up with, you know, the same equipment that we've got, and provide them with X amount of leads a month. And then obviously they've got to build their business, but what they're paying for effectively is the safety net of having work coming in or leads coming in, without having to start fresh, you know, and also the knowledge of what equipment to buy and not to buy. We've all been in a situation where we've bought shitty equipment and it's not gone well. Let's have a look. If you're a national website generating 100 leads a day, you could possibly franchise them by dishing out work. Yeah, if you was a national website, you'd probably set up lead sales rather than franchise, be more beneficial. I'm sure I spoke to a bloke not that long ago who made about 100 grand a year selling roof cleaning leads. I think he just had, I don't know if he was national or whatever, but yeah, he just sold roof cleaning leads and made a lot of money doing it. He didn't clean any roofs. I haven't got any Jakes. I think the skills or patience. Also, Samsung phone. What's that? What was that in relation to? A bit basic, but I haven't got Jake's editing.
I am back, by the way, but you seem to be.
Oh, hello.
I can just mute my microphone and just let you take over.
I was trying to work out what Ad O was saying. A bit basic, but haven't got Jake's editing skills or patience. Also, a shitty Samsung phone. I'm assuming he's talking about starting YouTube.
It's hard when
I started my first video was shot on my phone.
These live chats. It's very difficult when you're mid conversation to go back and remember what people were talking about.
Yeah. Was it just Google Ads that you run Curbside, or would you recommend for the return? I wouldn't recommend doing Google Ads. I have run Google Ads in the past. It cost me about £15 a lead. But that's a click to your website, so they don't necessarily have to inquire once they're on your website. They'll charge you just for clicking. So I wouldn't recommend that. I'd recommend the Google Guaranteed. That was very good. Go with Google Guaranteed was still profitable for me, even with paying for the service from a service provider. But I'm sure you can set it up on your own. Just might need to watch some YouTube videos.
Would you mind?
Yeah, I think that was it.
Would you mind, like, briefly listing from sort of best to worst, maybe in priority order, the marketing that you're doing that's most effective at the moment?
Yes, I would love to, because I absolutely love this conversation. Checker Trade.
Really? That's number one.
Checker Trade is like Marmite. People say they absolutely hate it and got nothing from it. Checker Trade, I joined about a year ago now. It's added £3,000 to £4,000 a month of work to my business. If you are just a pressure washing business, it's not going to work for you. Or if you just do one service, I don't think it's going to work for you. My first job off Checker Trade was a roof clean, 1,500 quid. Like two houses semi-detached. So yeah, that paid for itself for like the year. What's the cost for Checker Trade? So the basic package that I started on was £80 a month. After about 6 months, I added an additional area and an additional service, because carpet cleaning is separate to. So Checker Trade does cleaning services, which is roofs, pressure washing, gutters, windows.
That seems like
there's like 22 other things.
For someone like me, again, who is tight, that seems like quite a risk or a gamble to invest £80 a month. How did you go from not using Checker Trade to suddenly paying £80 a month for it? Like, did you just test it out for a couple of months, or did you go from like a lower?
No, so yeah, I've since I started the business. Well, not since I started, but very quickly, I've always been spending on marketing. So I was paying I was doing about 800 quid of marketing a month at the time, and then I stopped doing the Google Guaranteed because it got a little bit saturated in my area. So by the time the leads sort of ended up ringing me, they might have spoken to another couple of people already, and it all became like a pissing contest. So I stopped doing that. I was paying 160 quid a month for that, and then took up the checker trade, which was £80. So it was actually cheaper for me to do that, and the return I got was insane. But I get a lot of people don't like spending money. I get that. But when it comes to marketing, you need to listen to some people that have been there and done it. Don't do the magazines. Everyone does the magazines. I've done the magazines. The magazines will be the end of your business. Do the online marketing.
I get hounded.
I can almost guarantee. Yeah, I can almost guarantee that you'll be positive cash flow from digital marketing. So even Google Ads, you'll probably, unless you're setting it up yourself, if you're going with a marketing company, you should. But yeah, okay, a couple of lads in the chat. Your Cleaner Windows, I think I spoke to him about Checker Trade not that long ago. He's doing quite well from it. I've signed up a couple of other people as well, and it's transformed my business for sure. You don't really need to do anything else. Checker Trade is banging, but you got to keep on top of it. So you've got to upload your fresh photos. You've got to get your reviews at least 2 a month.
I was just about to ask, is there something that you're doing to like set up a profile on Tracker? Do you have a profile, or is it just like Google Business where you just upload pictures every now and again?
Yeah, you do. You have a profile. No, so you have like a profile where you can write a short description. You can put on there if you take cards, things like that. And then you can put your YouTube videos on there now as well, per service. So you can sort of show off, how you do a job or whatever. Photos, you can upload photos for the services, and then the reviews, you get your reviews. So that's what keeps the leads coming in.
You just mentioned that if you try and upload, did you say twice a month? Do you think that actually has an effect on how much they push you?
So when I spoke to them about it, they don't really know how it works. It's an algorithm, right? It's like the YouTube algorithm. No one really knows how it works. You can only just do things to appease the algorithm. Basically, the way that they described it to me was, if you've got two businesses, one with 5,000 reviews, 5,000 photos, but no new reviews or no new photos in the last 6 months, and then you've got a business with 20 reviews and 20 photos, but they've been adding four reviews and 4 photos a month for the last 6 months, they're more likely to promote the business.
That's very interesting.
With the more recent reviews, because they can prove that they're a trading business and they're getting consistently good reviews. So the company that's got 5,000 reviews that hasn't had a good one in 6 months, they could be not trading. They could be doing a shit job. That's why they're getting no reviews, and the algorithm can't work out if they're doing well.
That's something that's been on my mind lately with my Google business profile. Is I get the odd review here and there. Most people post reviews to my Facebook page, but also I've not updated the pictures in quite a while, and I'm wondering if that might be having an effect.
It could well do. I don't really do the Google My Business stuff. Don't really get a lot through it, so I don't keep up with it. The company that were doing my Google Guarantee, they updated it all for me, like, regularly.
Yeah.
But it's not something I've kept up with. But again, I think it's one of those things where you're ticking a box. So if someone goes and views it, whether they've found you through that way or not, they're able to see that you've done work and you've got reviews, and I think it's the reviews that are more important than the photos.
Yeah,
the reviews are more important than anything.
Before we move on, I do want to ask you about those reviews, but before we move on, going back to the list, you're quite fond of Checker Trade. What would be the next thing that's generating you the most work, do you think?
So, well, you can't ignore some sort of referral system, or or not necessarily referral, but like just word of mouth in general.
Do you give your current customers any
asking anyone-
incentive to like refer their friends and stuff? Because
No,
nor me.
I have done in the past. But I'm fortunate enough to be busy where I don't have to do stuff like that at the moment. I think if you're going to do it, it needs to be a long term trade-off for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy how.
But yeah, I don't do that.
It's crazy. I think I massively underestimated recommendations and word of mouth until peak pressure washing season last year. I realised either all my customers from my first year were coming back to me, or they'd all recommended me to one of their neighbours or one of their family members, and I didn't have to do a single push for any sort of advertising, because I think it's very, very key to make sure you're leaving every single customer's house that knowing that they're, you know, over the moon with the job that you've done. Because
yeah,
sorry,
I always get my customers to come out and check anything.
Give me 2 seconds. Sorry.
You won't want them, sorry.
I do, yeah.
You've got to eat
I
your
definitely
dinner.
do, yeah.
You've got to eat your dinner.
Yeah, I do.
Eat your dinner.
I do. Definitely want a McFlurry. Sorry. It's McFlurry Mondays. We've got to do it every week. So, yeah, I think leaving the customer's property, the last thing I say to them when before I leave is, "Are you happy with the work that I've done? Is there anything else you need me to do while I'm here?" And I think that's so important for getting those recommendations.
Yeah, I think it's a huge part of our job is making sure you've done a good job. Not necessarily just for the recommendations, but just for your reputation more than anything. You might not get that person recommend you, but they're not going to say a bad thing about you, which is just as important.
Yeah, there's
I think
there's a phrase that I was using with my brother for like the last 2 months. We were sort of leaving a job thinking, yeah, that was a real good one. I was a nice customer. They pay on time. We did a good job. And we would say to each other, like, that's a customer for life, that is. And you can always recognize those customers when it's not only, you know, you've done a good job, but it's actually working for people that you enjoy working for as well. You don't want to go around working for knobheads and people that are talking down to you, or they're not paying you on time. You want to get rid of those and just swap them with the ones that are good to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
someone just put, "Have you used Yell at all?" Yeah, stay away from Yell.
They keep calling me.
Nothing for you.
What's the other one that keeps calling me?
Yeah, they will do absolutely nothing. Bark? Is it Bark?
No, I haven't used Bark. Is it Yell? There's another one that my brother made me sign up for, and they keep ringing me every day. I think it's a customer, so I'm like, "Hi, how you doing? How can I help?" And they're saying things like, "Is this Smelts pressure washing? I was wondering if I could just ask you a couple of questions." It's like, yeah, this could be like a potential customer, and then you find out they're just trying to sell you stuff.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It winds me up so much, especially when they call you in the middle of the day and you're like halfway through a job or you're up a ladder.
Yeah. Yeah. Austin just said, "I saw on your last video that you changed the female quick connect on your XJet. I need to build a new hose. Can you send me where you got the parts?" PWS. Speak to Darren from PWS. He might be in the chat still. He'll be able to sort you out. Hunt's Exterior says, "You're only as good as your last job." Yeah, definitely agree.
Very true. Very, very true.
I've got, I don't know whether I'd call it imposter syndrome, but I've got this thing where I quite often, I think it's a benefit really, like a net benefit. I always leave wondering whether the customer's happy. I've got this anxiety of whether they were lying to me when they said, "No, you've done a great job. That's really nice," and they give me a lovely review.
Yeah, I'll get the same.
Yeah, and I still think,
Yeah,
are they
just
are
saying
they
that.
really happy?
Yeah,
I think it's a good
They-
thing because it shows that I care, but I don't necessarily think it's good to worry about it all the time.
no, but then like some people will avoid a confrontation and then leave you about you, despite saying, if you're not happy with anything, let me know now and I'll go back over it, or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
And they'll still not be happy with the job.
yeah.
Or like, do you ever send people reviews and then they don't review you, and you get anxiety to ask them again in case the reason they haven't reviewed you is because
all
they
the
weren't
time,
happy?
all the time, and it's like,
Yeah.
But just generally, people are just bad at leaving reviews. I've left some amazing jobs where I've done the most amazing transformation, and the customer is over the moon, and I've done it for a very competitive, fair price. And you just think they've had a really good deal there. I've done a great job. And you send them the review link, or you ask them face to face, do you mind leaving me a review today? And they just don't. And it's like, oh, damn it. And then you'll do it again. You'll message them again and say, I wondered if you'd mind leaving me a review if you've got time. And they don't reply to you. It's like, what? What's going on there?
I had one today where I cleaned her carpets, and she I got her out at the end, and I said, look, have a quick walk around, make sure you're happy with everything. Anything that you see that you might want me to go back over, just let me know and I'll go back over it before I pack away. No, all good, brilliant. I was like, okay, awesome. I'm going to send you a link to leave me a review if you don't mind. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. No review. I'm just thinking, oh, don't. In case you really weren't happy, I'm not going to send you another one.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of customers I've had, happy customers that I've had compared to the amount of reviews I've got. It's very disappointing, actually, but it's just the nature of just people can't be bothered to leave a review, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's you can't win every single job, and if you could, then we'd all be absolutely rolling in reviews, and it'd be no better to be more reviewed or less reviewed. Everyone would have loads of reviews.
2 people in the chat have just said Bark is terrible, don't bother, waste of 80 quid. Someone else has just said Bark is a waste of money, I've used that one. So some people, I don't know if you're on Bark, but some people have said that Bark's brilliant. Other people have said that it's a scam and they get fake leads.
My opinion on Bark is, if you've got the day off and you want to close some work, get some Bark credits, and as inquiries come in, you call them, you will get some work. But generally, the people are doing that. So by the time you've emailed them or whatever, they've already gone with someone else. So they're getting
so
sold quickly.
It's a case of responding first, basically.
Yeah, but because you pay for credits on Bark, you don't pay like a monthly. So it'll cost you like 5 credits or whatever to reply to that person. You need to like make it work for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're quiet and you're first starting out, I can imagine Bark's probably quite good because you can sit at home and be on the ball. But if you're doing your Bark inquiries at the end of the day, they've all booked someone,
Yeah. Have you had any issues when it comes to trying to run multiple aspects of like a cleaning business? I feel like just having like exterior cleaning plus carpet cleaning must be so overwhelming when it comes to the sheer amount of equipment that you need to do those jobs, let alone the knowledge.
There is a lot of equipment, but I don't market myself as an exterior cleaning business anymore.
Okay.
I market myself as my new logo is not on my website, by the way, but if you look at I think it's on my YouTube channel. We're specialist cleaning services now.
I did notice that, yeah.
So we've flipped it on its head and gone with specialist cleaning services because we're trying to be more like, like a lot of the commercial jobs that we go to, they have like cleaners that come in every day or whatever, and like the cleaners will clean the glass on the inside of the buildings, and they'll hoover the carpets and they'll mop the floors. But what we do is, well, I could come in with my floor cleaning stuff. I would brush up dirty water off of your freshly mopped floor.
Yeah.
You've not cleaned it, you've just sort of mopped it. So we try and sell ourselves more as a specialist cleaning, you know. And like the gardener can de-weed all of the block paving, but it's not going to clean it, you know. So that's the sort of route we're aiming to go down with it.
When you say we, are you guys full time together now?
No, so what we were talking about earlier, making yourself seem like a bigger business.
Oh, that's a strategy.
I've always referred to my businesses as we.
Wow.
I don't know why I've done it. I've done it from day dot. I've just always said we, and like it makes people think that you're a bigger business than you are. It promotes trust.
Yeah. I see.
Free sales tip for anyone there.
Well, I do see quite a lot of people doing that who have just started out, and they're saying we, and I'm like,
yeah.
I know for a fact you've just started, and it's just you on your own. Why are you saying we? But yeah. I do know what you're saying.
I get a lot of people ask me like that question. Oh, you said we. Is there more than one of you? I say yes, me and the business.
Yeah.
Because I am not the business. The business is not me. The business is its own entity.
It is surprising that you've got these contracts and you're clearly busy, that you're still able to offer multiple services and be good at multiple services on your own. Have you been tempted to? I know you're trying to tick things off the checklist one at a time, but have you ever been close to employing someone?
Yeah. So last year when Dan started working with me, that was sort of my trial period as to whether I could afford to take someone on full time, and I just wasn't quite there. And then again, it was sort of the start of this year. And that was the plan from sort of October to December. It was by sort of March I'll have a full-time staff member. But again, plans change, and I've switched it a little bit, and we're now going to go to pay off the debt. So we're just going to do another year of slogging it out. And like I've got a few people that I can call upon for bigger jobs that can help me out. There's a few local companies around by me that I'm quite friendly with as well. So I'm never going to be short of a pair of hands. But it's for this year, I'm going to try and get a little bit more flush financially, and then.
Sorry, I keep interrupting. I'm so sorry. If you were to employ someone, would you have them trained up and being really good at one specific job, or would you train them up on all of the equipment that you're currently using?
No, I would train. So when I take someone on, it'll be 12 months of coming out in the van with me, doing every job that we offer. Full training, and then after the 12 months, assuming that they stick around and they enjoy it, I'll buy them a van. That'll be almost like a pay rise for them, so they'll be on the same money, but they'll get a company van, and then they'll into jobs on their own. And then 6 months after that, once they've been going out on their own for 6 months, we'll look at taking on a third staff member to go out with them or me. Essentially,
do you ever?
Depending on which way around.
Have you ever considered? I think it's not an issue of mine, but one of the thoughts that I've had when I'm thinking about employing someone, training them up, and sort of teaching them everything I know, it's like there's not really much stopping them unless you're paying them a super competitive wage, where it makes it very difficult for them to want to go off and start their own thing. It's like, do you just do that from the beginning? Do you make it very clear that, look, I'm going to train you up, and if in the event that you want to go off and do it on your own, I'm going to support you, or are you looking for someone that's going to stay with you long term?
Nothing. I mean, it's part and parcel of the people. If they're that inclined and they're willing to investment and stuff on their own, I think just be happy for them, because they lined up with that they can use. Still have the experience to take someone. So you've not walked away with nothing. Yes, you've spent time and money training them, but that is part of running a business. They'll find out very quickly how difficult it is to run a business, and if they succeed, then good. You stop back at square one, take someone.
Yeah,
it is just part and parcel of having your business, and it's inevitable.
sorry, you're breaking up quite a lot. I'm sorry.
No, if one was like that, so there's people there on starting up their own, starting up on their own, they're going to do it anyway. And if they somehow manage to slip past you will have seen that before. You spend a lot of time and money training them.
Yeah.
And,
sorry, I'm I'm struggling to hear everything you're saying at the moment. It's gone quite glitchy, unfortunately. By the way, just let me know if at any point you need to dip out, because I know it's getting quite late. I'm happy to carry on as long as you want to, so just let me know.
I probably will need to shoot in a second, actually.
No worries. Has anyone got any questions for Ryan before we let him go? I know you guys have been keeping the chat very active tonight, and I'm sorry we haven't got around to everyone's comments. Normally, when it's just me on my own, it's very easy for me to just go through everyone's questions and the comments and read them out individually and stuff. And even then, I struggle to sort of keep up with everything. But when I'm talking to someone else and we're having our own little conversation, it's difficult to keep up with everyone else. So if there's anything you guys want to say or ask before we let Ryan go, pop it in the chat now, and I'll sort of let Ryan take over, if that's okay with you, mate.
It's absolutely fine with me.
By the way, where can people find your stuff? You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram. Is it all the same? Is it Curbside Cleaning for everything?
Yeah. Through TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, all the same, Curbside Cleaning.
And you've got your weekly podcast.
Yeah, fortunately, that. Yeah, the Uncleanables podcast is the weekly podcast. That's on YouTube and all the podcast providers. If you want to listen to that as well. I think there's always that risk of taking someone they could leave to start their own company. Yeah.
What's the best method to scale the business?
I don't think there's any real best methods. A lot of the scaling is going to come for this particular industry. It's just going to become more work, extra van, extra staff member, extra equipment. There's not a hell of a lot of in-depth scaling involved with this. It's not like when you take on an additional person, you then need a HR department and things like that. So it's a case of making sure your training's on point so that they're providing the same level of service that you would want to provide to your customers, and making sure that they're trustworthy. They're not going to crash your van. They're not going to get pissed up on a Monday morning and turn up pissed at customers' houses. They know all your rules of your business. And then really you got to double down on your marketing, because you need to make sure that you've got extra work.
Who's the man in the back of Ryan's garage?
I
We've not even got the
hope
camera
there's
on.
no one in the back. Yeah, I was going to say, I hope there's no one in the back of my garage.
Oh, here's one. The video that you did in Warsaw, I was going to leave a comment saying, "Oi, get out of my area," but I didn't know how it would go down. Clearly, that would be a joke. I understand. How do you feel about this? Is quite a competitive industry, and I have seen the odd comment from people saying, "This is my turf" or "This is my area." And how do you feel about all that sort of stuff?
I think it's a very old school way of looking at it. None of the newer guys in the industry, the younger fellas in the industry, I've heard anyone ever say something like that. It's always been the older fellas that have been doing it 30 years. Don't even smile at other window cleaners or other pressure washing companies. Obviously, there's exceptions to the rules. I was cleaning someone's driveway once. A fella stopped, pulled up, and we had a good 20-minute chat. He was a really lovely fella. I forget the name of his business, but yeah, that was great. I loved that. It was awesome. And I think working together is the way forwards.
Yeah.
If two companies can work together, you're both going to succeed. Rather than fighting each other, it's just going to be a race to the bottom. So
I think if you can build local relationships with other professionals, there's nothing more. Just the advice that you might get from them alone, let alone when it comes to them helping you with work or passing work on to each other. Like it's so good to build relationships with other traders in the area.
I'm yet to work alongside another local company, but I've got a couple of local companies round by me who I talked to, have reached out and spoke to them. I've shared equipment with them. We've quoted jobs together, and like I say, unfortunately, nothing's come in as of yet, but I'm sure it will do this year at some point. And like that's how, if we're all winning, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. How are you guys advertising for this coming year? For me personally, I just got my first job. The video that I posted today, actually, that was the first job that come from one of my leaflets that I dropped through someone's door while I was doing another job. And I reckon I must have put out around about between 500 and 700 leaflets in the last sort of 6 months, just while I've been doing other jobs and putting them around the street. And that's the first one that's actually come back. But it's sort of paid for those leaflets. It's paid for that time, I guess. Have you ever done leaflets?
Yeah, when I first started, I'd done leaflets. Didn't see a massive return on them, so quickly stopped doing them. I've got a printed brochure now that I give out to people only when I quote them, which is the only printed material I do now. I try to keep everything digital.
That's a nice idea, like a brochure of your services.
Yeah, something I spent a lot of time and a lot of money on. I'm really happy with the outcome. I've got a video somewhere. I'll ping it to you when I find it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So. But yeah, really happy with it.
That's a good idea, so they can see all the services you offer.
Yeah, and I've got a little quote page at the back, so I can leave them with a price. But generally, it's sort of it's one of those things that sells itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's those little added extras that really do. Like last year, I went through a stage where I got branded key rings, branded pens, branded magnets. I've done the brochure, and I wanted to send packs out to commercial clients. I never ended up doing it, so they just sat here doing nothing. So I ended up giving them to my customers just as I was going around. I just gave them all pens and key rings and stuff. And they absolutely loved it. And I ended up with quite a bit more work off of my current customers off the back of that.
Yeah, even just
sitting.
Yeah, even just a little extra time having a conversation with a customer can lead to more work, or just saying hello to a neighbour or something when they pull up on their drive can lead to that conversation that leads to more work. It's crazy.
I always try and be friendly. They say it's far cheaper to sell to your current customers than it is to sell to new customers.
Yeah, if you can get your other services in front of them, it costs you much less in advertising for sure.
I sent a text out in November to all of my window cleaning customers. So selected them all on my back end, sent a text and just said, it's that time of year again. We're doing our gutter clearing. I've done 1,050 quid's worth of work off the back of a text message. Took me all of 30 seconds to send out.
I'm really tempted to ask you more questions and dig deeper into just that one subject, but
make a note of it, Jake, and we'll do this again, mate. I love all this shit. So
I was just about to ask you, would you want to come back on again? Because I'd love to get into
definitely. That. Yeah, I've got all the time in the world to talk about stuff like this. So you love it.
Awesome. I appreciate this isn't the most convenient time of night for some people, so thank you for coming on at 7:30 at night. So I know you're a very busy man.
Yeah, I'll chat to you. I'll send you a video of that brochure, and we'll get another date booked in, and we can go over some of the finer points on this one. I'll watch it back at some point and make some notes as well. But yeah, awesome. I'm gonna love you and leave you. Go get in my bed, ready for my 5:30 wake up call.
Thank you very much, mate. I'm sorry for all the tech issues at the beginning, but I really appreciate you coming on.
I've had a great time. Awesome. And I will catch you in the next one, Jake.
All right, mate. See you in a bit.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was lovely, wasn't it? How about that then? Yeah, I was just going to say before we started, like I've never spoke to Ryan before. I literally just dropped him an Instagram message last week and said, how'd you fancy joining me on the live stream? Back and forth, organising it a little bit, and that's it. That's as much as we spoke. But people in the chat have mentioned Curbside Cleaning quite a lot to try and see if we do something together, and I'm glad we did. That was really good. I feel like he's challenged me on not aggressively, like directly challenged me or anything. That's not what I mean, but I feel like he's challenged some of my ideas or is it preconceptions, predispositions on some of my ideas that I had, and he's offered like his perspective on them, and it's making me like second guess some things, which is always very good when you're talking to someone new, getting those fresh perspectives. Yeah, he seems very switched on when it comes to marketing, which is very good to hear from someone like me who I don't know the first thing when it comes to marketing. I post pictures on my Facebook page, and that's about it when it comes to me marketing, to be honest. Great ideas. Have a re-listen, note them down. Yeah, I am going to be taking notes, because there's a few things that I jotted down throughout that whole conversation that we didn't get round. I don't want to, like, when the conversation's going quite organically, I don't want to swing back on something that, you know, especially when we're on a bit of a roll with something. This is all new for me, navigating stuff. Like, I'm not an interviewer. I'm a bit socially awkward sometimes, and with that added barrier of tech issues and a little bit of delay, feeling like I'm constantly interrupting him, or I don't know whether he's finished talking and then I jump in and I find that he's still got more to say. It's very difficult. I'd much rather do this sort of thing in person, but I haven't got the space, and it would mean us traveling and meeting halfway, and it's not really feasible. So this is the best that I've got at the moment. So sorry if it's been a bit awkward in places to watch. It's been great as per usual. Big thumbs up. Thank you very much. Word of mouth is one of the best advertisings. Agreed. Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for joining me, mate. With Ryan saying that about checker trade, I think that's something I'm going to jump on. Yeah, it does sound very tempting, doesn't it? But for me, am I at that stage where I need to start spending I mean, I suppose it's not a case of needing to spend 80 quid a month on advertising. It's being proactive, isn't it? And also ready for those quieter months over the winter. Maybe it's something that you look into just before you know it's going to start getting quiet, or I don't know. Like I'm fairly confident this next, like when it gets to about, the work's flowing in quite organically at the moment, and I know when it gets to around about March time, I'm not really going to need to worry about advertising. But I quite like my work-life balance at the moment. Other people might be in a position where they're getting the same amount of work that I'm getting, but they really want to grind and they really want to squeeze more jobs into the day, and maybe they do want to put more money into advertising. So I totally get it. I'm struggling to find that. I don't know what I want yet. I don't know whether I want to be super busy and earn loads of money, or whether I'm happy with my work-life balance at the moment. When it comes to expanding and stuff, like I just don't know which direction I want to go just yet, and it's quite difficult to navigate at the moment. I don't think I'm very good at thinking ahead. Very good at being present in the moment with what's currently going on and evaluating what's working and what isn't, but not so good at looking forward, I don't think. Would you interview someone who's just starting out? Yes. I would need to know that they're particularly invested. And yes, they're starting out, but they're very eager. I don't want to necessarily talk to someone live on this live stream who thought about it yesterday and they're suddenly thinking, yeah, I'm going to start this business, I'm going to do everything all at once. And it's like, we don't know if this person's still going to be doing this in a week. You know what I mean? I want to talk to someone who's been, having thoughts about this for a long time. They've made moves. They've started buying bits of equipment. They've started building a website maybe, or a Facebook page. They've got a bit of experience. That's the person that I'd want to talk to, I think. I think a lot of it is throwing money at advertising without any idea of if it'll work or be worth it. Yeah, that's my issue with paying for advertising or paying for marketing, is because I've not done it before and I'm inexperienced. I don't know what works and what doesn't, and so £50 to £100 is a lot of money. And to people that have been doing this for 7 or 8 years and they know what works and what don't, £50 to £100 is something they might spend in 2 or 3 days on advertising, but they know it works. For me, I don't know what works and what doesn't. So I can't justify that sort of money, I don't think, just yet. Thank you, Dan. Expo sounds like it's going to be busy this year, does it? I'm looking forward to seeing who. Oh, let me do a poll. Let me do a poll. I've been looking at excuses to use this for a while. Who is going to the cleaning expo? Is it EX Expo? Doesn't necessarily need to be a no column, does there? Sid is a good example of progressing. What do you mean by that, Robert? Going from like a one-man band to employing multiple people and stuff. It looks like he's been having some issues lately with like staff retention and keeping reliable people on, which is something I'm also quite anxious about, is employing the wrong person. It's why I really enjoyed working with Zach, is because I know my brother. he goes the extra mile because it's me, because he wants the business to succeed. We've got a lot in common, easy to talk to. There's no weird energy at any point. But employing someone that I don't necessarily know, I don't know if they're certainly not going to go the extra mile if it's not their business, and if they're being employed like a quite a basic rate. I don't know whether they're, they're going to bring their personal life into work or come in pissed or whatever. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket with someone, basically. Start training someone up, and then 6 months down the line I realise they're not the right person. And I don't think I'm a very good manager. I've been a manager before in retail, and I don't think I'm very good at finding that fine line between being someone's manager or leader and trying to be their friend at the same time. I don't navigate that very well. I've checked Checkatrade and it says £140 plus VAT per month for me. Really? Can you tweak those settings at all so that you get like a lower price? Is that £140 plus VAT like the base amount that you can spend? Or can you dial down some of the settings so that it's cheaper? By the way, if anyone isn't already, please consider hitting subscribe down below, and also click like on the stream, the little thumbs up below the stream, because that will help sort of promote it and put it in front of more eyes. Also, if you haven't already, go over to YouTube and have a look at Curbside Cleaning's channel and give them a sub. And also, if you're interested in this long form stuff, we didn't even touch on pricing. Damn it. There was so much I wanted to ask him about. I got a really good little nugget of information from one of his podcasts a while ago, which I was supposed to mention to him, but I forgot now. It was the Uncleanables podcast, by the way. Go and give them a sub. And it's like this, it's like the long form, but it's two people in person having a chat face to face. And there's like a wealth of knowledge and experience there that you get these little nuggets every now and again that, like, I'm going to apply that to my business. So go and do that, definitely. If you're so inclined. So 65% of people in this chat are going to the Cleaning Expo. How many votes was that? 20 votes. What's the percentage on that? So at least 13 people are going. Is my maths correct? I don't know if that's correct. That's quite a good number. For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, the Cleaning Expo in Stoneleigh, Warwickshire, in the NAEC, is happening in April the 13th. And that'll have all the suppliers that you all know: Gutter Vacuum Systems, Pure Seal, PWS, AC pressure washers, Gardener. Oh, have they got the thing on here? The map. Exhibitor list. Who are the ones I know? Checkatrade are going to be there. Ionic Systems. Ionic Systems are the one that do the big roof cleaning stuff. Equip to Clean are going to be there. Spinner Clean, Skyvac. Window Cleaning Warehouse. Window Cleaning Warehouse have always got their big discounts, I think, at the Cleaning Expo. PWS are going to be there. Darren, are you doing anything special for the Cleaning Expo? You doing any mad discounts and stuff? You heard it here first, exclusive Smelty discounts. I'm always asking Darren for discounts. Pay your staff 10% extra for every job they get a 5-star review on. Ooh, that's a good idea. That's an incentive, isn't it? It's worth it as well. You get this customer to leave you a review, and I will pay you 10% extra on that job. Because reviews are worth it, to be fair. Like Ryan said, like a recent review. Recent proof that you've done the work. I think check a trade depends on the area and how many leads they think you'll get to affects the price. If I have someone for the day, I pay them mega well and always helps, as they always turn up and work hard. I think if you pay well, you do well. Yeah, I had a conversation with my brother recently about the amount that I pay for people who help me, or when I send work to other people. He's like, why are you doing this? It's not benefiting you in any way. But it's like, well, there's no harm in being generous and being, I don't expect anything in return, but generally you do find things come back round. Dan says my little boy's birthday. Oh, on April. You can bring him with you. That's a nice little day out for you both. The Cleaning Expo. Don't go. Stay at home and learn how to market. I'm all right. I'm doing fine at the minute. Thank you. If I take my son, Darren is charge me as my son talks everyone's ears off. Did I read that right? To be honest, I'd love it. Darren, have you got to set up there at Expo? Darren had, I think, probably one of the best setups a couple of years ago now. I don't think it was last year, it was the year before. He had a pickup truck with one of the van mounted systems that fits perfectly like on a pallet in the back of this pickup truck, and it looks sick. Is there any type of exterior work you flat out refuse to do / never want to be involved with, and why? That's a very good question. I've considered things like drain cleaning, drain clearing and cleaning. But again, that would require like a lot of extra research. Not necessarily extra equipment, because I think I could literally just buy a drain cleaning hose, which is like thin high pressure hose, and then a couple of different style of turbo nozzles, and they call them wigglies. They're the ones that point backwards, but they spin round forwards, so they sort of project themselves through the drain. But I just don't know enough about drainage, and so it would take me a lot of extra research and stuff for a job that isn't particularly glorious and glamorous. You could get some real nasty jobs when it comes to drainage, couldn't you? I mean, it'd be good for YouTube content, but I don't know if it's something you want to be sniffing around every day. Never want to clean a murder scene. Oh, that's interesting. I think I don't know, things like potentially acid washing is quite high risk, low reward work, especially when you're doing it at scale. Some people might argue with me on that, but if you've got like a big contract to do multiple new builds and you're cleaning all the snot off the walls and stuff, I feel like the price that you've got to charge to be competitive in that industry could potentially outweigh the risk of damage to properties, health, your own health, all the hoops that you've got to jump through and stuff. I'm not sure if that is worth it for someone like me at the moment. I don't know. Darren is here for another few minutes, then he's off. If anyone wants to ask Darren any questions. Keep a Q fitting for the surface cleaner and a green hat, please, Darren. Yeah, Darren, you need to stock up on those surface cleaner fittings for the expo, because I get asked regularly where I got mine from. Kids go free. I'll be there with the shop trailer. All the machines will also have an exclusive at the show. Ooh. Currently 30 in stock, unallocated. You think you made John's head explode on the phone today with your quote request. Sorry if he quit, doesn't turn up tomorrow. If anyone's interested in becoming a member of the channel, you can get access to our private Discord, which I'm in every day. We've got lots of different sections where people post about some of the quotes they're doing, and you can ask for advice on how you'd price certain jobs. We've got a general chat section. We've got a section where we all post our pictures and videos. It's generally just a place where we all help each other out, so I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to play a real quick advert and then I'm going to head off. So thank you all so much for watching. This has been a really great episode. Sorry about the tech issues, and I will see you all next week. See you in a bit. Now, these videos take a lot of time and effort to film and edit, on top of trying to run a successful pressure washing business. If you find any of the information in my videos useful, then I'd like for you to consider becoming a paid member of the channel. Circle members and above will get access to my private Discord for members only, where you can pretty much get a hold of me 24 hours a day for inspiration, technical help, marketing advice, or just a general chat. I post pictures and videos that you won't see on any of my other socials. You'll be the first to hear about giveaways, special offers and announcements, and it's just generally a nice place full of like-minded people who are all heading towards similar goals. We've got various different experience levels. We've got a few professionals in the chat as well. If you want to push your business, in my opinion, this is the place to be. We also have two other membership tiers. One is just to show a bit of support for the channel, and the other one is for boosted members, which will not only give you access to the private Discord, but also loads of high quality promotional images for you to start your business. I know what it's like when you're ready to get going, but you don't have any before and after pictures to put on your leaflets. At the moment, there's about 150 images that you can use for pretty much whatever you like, and my intention is to constantly update these over the next few years with all of my before and afters that have helped promote my business. Last thing before I let you go, new videos come out every Monday night at 5:30, and then I go live at 7:30 to chat to you guys and answer as many questions as possible. We do live quotes for real customers and just generally keep up to date with everything going on in the pressure washing world. Thanks for watching. Back to the video.